Epic Moments in History. Ching Shih, Rise of the Pirate Queen. This video was sponsored by Joy City. Ching Shih is one of the most accomplished pirates in history. Starting off as a destitute courtesan and working her way up the ranks, she would eventually reign as queen of a massive pirate fleet of over 70,000 men and 1,200 ships. Not only would she terrorize the South China Seas, but she would ultimately live to tell the tale and retire with a huge hoard of treasure. Today, we'll be retelling her story. This epic swashbuckling tale was made possible by our sponsor Joy City and their game Pirates of the Caribbean: Tides of War. This free-to-play strategy game casts you into the role of a pirate captain as you build your own armada, recruit tacticians to support your cause, establish your own pirate fortress, and set out to become a feared, legendary master of the seas. Earn resources by pillaging islands, battling monsters, or assaulting enemy bases, and spend these to upgrade your own fortress or fleet. Experience the greatest moments from the film and unlock your favorite infamous ships to use in battle. You can start playing by using this link in the description below. Ching Shih was originally born Shiyang in the Guangdong province of Qing, China. Little is known about her humble origins. She seems to have made her living on the streets before finding employ as a courtesan aboard a floating call house. In this capacity, she found herself with access to many important clients. Ching Shih was thus able to use her charm and wits to advance herself. At the time, it was very difficult for Chinese women to wield official power within the male-oriented Confucian society. Non-elite or socially unconnected ladies would therefore have to develop their own alternative sources of legitimacy and authority. The power of such women ultimately rested on the strength of their personal relationships. Ching Shih proved extremely capable in these matters and is said to have developed a reputation for her shrewd business savvy and trade in secrets through the pillow talk of her wealthy and political clientele. Her activities would surely have seen her cross paths with the most notorious pirates of the region. Southern China at the time was a particular hotbed for these naval bandits. The area had always seen some level of piracy due to its large sea-based communities and prosperous trade routes. Increasingly, however, land annexation was kicking more and more farmers off of their lands and into poverty, where they would make easy pirate recruits. This trend was made more severe by the frequent fighting taking place around the Vietnam-China border. Both sides would ravage one another, driving even more people into poverty. These conflicts even saw militaries sponsor piracy, aimed at their opponents, or even hired them on as privateers or mercenaries in their own fleets. All this action made the South China Sea one of the pirate capitals of the world. In 1801, at the age of 26, Ching Shih would marry the notorious pirate Ching Yat. Through their marriage, she is said to have negotiated a 50% share in his business ventures. For the time being, they worked together to consolidate their holdings. The couple adopted another pirate, Zheng Po, as their stepson and had 2 boys of their own. Soon, however, the time would come for some aggressive expansion. In 1802, one of the major conflicts in Vietnam drew to a close. The pirates, which had been operating in the theater of war as mercenaries, now begun to return home. However, as they did so, they would find that government troops were too busy suppressing the White Lotus Rebellion to keep them in check. As a result, these forces simply kept up arms rather than demobilize. The vast numbers of pirates in operation would coalesce into 6 fleets, each with their own leader. Ching Shih and her husband had come to rule the Red Flag Fleet, which they now bolstered significantly with the new recruits from the conflict in Vietnam. This move made them one of the most powerful fleets in operation. These large pirate confederations inevitably sparred with one another. As tensions escalated, however, such turf wars could prove ruinous to all involved. The crisis was averted thanks to the clever thinking of the Jings, who realized that their efforts were wasted fighting one another. The husband and wife team went to work on a plan. With Ching Yat acting as a unifier and patriarch, and Ching Shih acting as a consolidator and organizer, the two masterfully managed to unite the various fleets. This was orchestrated by establishing a complex series of personal and familial obligations between the various rulers and the Jing family. In 1805, the fleet leaders finally sat down as one to make an agreement. A pirate alliance was founded with the Jings at their head. However, in 1807, Ching Yat would die unexpectedly. This sudden turn of events threatened to send the whole house of cards toppling to the ground. Yet, Ching Shih would not stand idly by. She was a woman of extreme ambition and fortitude. This would be her finest hour. Acting quickly, Ching Shih made well-calculated moves to keep the pirate lords united and to secure her position at the top of the hierarchy. She began first by solidifying control of her own fleet. This was done by gaining the support of her most powerful chieftains and intensifying the personal bonds they held to her. Next, she sought to find a new head of the Red Flag Fleet. Ching Shih elected her adopted son, Zheng Po, as the leader. He was both a competent and respected leader, who most importantly held unshakable loyalty to the Jing family thanks to owing his entire career to their support. Now, with this valuable ally in place, Ching Shih was able to leverage the strength of the Red Flag Fleet to bring the others to heel. By carefully balancing the factions and exercising tactful diplomacy, she succeeded in persuading the pirate lords that their interests were best served in collaboration. Coming from a woman, these arguments would likely have fallen on deaf ears in the male-oriented Confucian government of Qing China. However, out here, at the fringes of traditional society, Ching Shih found a more receptive audience that was used to women playing a more prominent role when it came to helping families scratch a living out of poverty. After all, it was Ching Shih who was a 50-50 partner in her husband's affairs, and who was the true mastermind behind much of the financial business operations that were making the pirates so much money lately. In the end, they bowed to her rule. Ching Shih then further united the fleets by issuing a code of strictly enforced laws meant to establish a general organizational framework. These are typically recorded as follows. 1. Anyone giving their own orders or disobeying those of a superior was to be beheaded on the spot. 2. No one was to steal from the public fund or any villagers that supplied the pirates. 3. All goods taken as booty had to be presented for group inspection. The booty was registered by a purser and then distributed by the fleet leader. The original Caesar received 20%, and the rest was placed into the fleet-wide public fund. 4th, actual money was turned over to the squadron leader, who only gave a small amount back to the Caesar, so the rest could be used to purchase supplies for unsuccessful ships. These codifications helped establish new military and financial frameworks for the fleet. By pooling resources and acting as one, their power grew immensely. No longer would one bad haul or a damaging battle be enough to defeat the pirates. Now, they had a massive war chest to weather any storm and could make strategic, large-scale investments where they needed them. The motley pirate startup was becoming a massive, organized company. And at the head of it all was Ching Shih. Having a woman leading such a powerful organization was unheard of at the time. What makes this story even more amazing is that she used her power to implement new rules aimed at protecting female captives swept up in her operations. Rape was forbidden, and even consensual sexual relations were barred for pirates who were already married to other women. Violations were punished severely with flogging, clapping in irons, or quartering. Ultimately, it was said that the codes gave rise to a force that was intrepid in attack, desperate in defense, and unyielding even when outnumbered. Ching Shih now led one of the largest pirate fleets in history, with a force of over 70,000 men and 1,200 ships. They robbed towns, markets, and villages from Macau to Canton. As the pirates continued to grow, they established financial offices and sought out new sources of income. Racketeering schemes and participation in the salt trade had always been profitable, but now Ching Shih turned them into money-printing businesses by expanding their operations to cover all forms of maritime traffic, from local fishing to foreign opium trade. Pirate activity grew so large that they even began to act as their own local government, establishing hegemony over many coastal villages, and in some cases imposing levies and taxes on settlements. Even the official Qing government in the region was bent to their will through bribery and extortion. This all quickly escalated to the point where the pirates had set themselves up as untouchable masters of the South China coast. For years, the pirates under Ching Shih's rule could not be defeated by Qing dynasty officials, nor by rival pirates, nor the Portuguese or British bounty hunters sent after them. Her squadrons laid waste to enemy ships, even sending forces on land to overrun garrisons and fortresses. Such was their strength that they precipitated the downfall of several prominent governors and humiliated many powerful generals. They were unstoppable. In January of 1808, the pirates continued to cut their way up the government bureaucracy and managed to kill an important provincial commander. This was a threat the Qing dynasty could no longer take lightly. The emperor now sent a new official, Bai Ling, to quell the unrest. He would arrive just in time to witness Ching Shih's latest plan, a full-scale assault on the Pearl River Delta, which included the rich ports of Macau and Canton. For a full year, terror rained down on the lands in the form of cannon fire and pirate raiding parties. Some reports claim that just one expedition, carried out by the Black Flag Fleet, claimed 10,000 lives. By 1809, the Chinese government was forced to recognize that the pirate threat could not be dealt with head-on. They were forced to swallow their pride and seek an alternate means of subduing them. This would include the dishonor of simply paying off the pirates to stop, and stooping so low as to recruit foreign aid. This change in tactics came at just the right time, when the pirates were open to talks. Ching Shih and her fleet were in need of heavy repairs after their heavy campaigning the previous year, and had been forced to retreat from land due to increased government resistance as well as the betrayal of a former pirate ally. In addition, Ching Shih herself had just barely broken out of a blockade at Lantau with some clever maneuvering and some luck. She knew that the winds were beginning to change. What followed was a period of negotiations aimed at dismantling the pirate confederation through offers of amnesty, surrender without retribution. In essence, the Qing dynasty would give the pirates a chance to cash out on their earnings. Several tense encounters took place between both sides as the talks began. Ching Shih knew that she held a strong hand and used this to her advantage. She refused to stand down. Eventually, the offers tipped more and more in her favor. When a dramatic engagement saw the pirates take a hit at the Battle of the Tiger's Mouth against the Portuguese, Ching Shih knew that it was time to settle. On April 8, 1810, Ching Shih docked at Canton and presented herself to Bai Ling and the highest officials of the province. She presented her terms. These were laughably in favor of the pirates. However, all laughter was cut short when Ching Shih ordered the pirates to ravage the surrounding areas. She was deadly serious. Ultimately, the government caved on all terms. In exchange for their surrender, the pirates would avoid punishment, keep their loot, maintain a portion of their fleet, and be offered positions in the Qing bureaucracy. This masterstroke is one of the most spectacular career moves I've ever heard of, and definitely should place Ching Shih in the Pirate Hall of Fame. In the end, Ching Shih retired from her pirate life. She wound up marrying her former son-in-law, Zheng Po, who was now a rising government official, and together they would raise a daughter. When he died in 1822, she took the opportunity to open a gambling house. In her later years, the retired pirate got involved in the salt trade and even served as a military advisor during the First Opium War. In 1844, Ching Shih would die peacefully in Macau at the age of 69, surrounded by her family and mountains of treasure. I hope that you've enjoyed this incredible tale. The meteoric career of Ching Shih was truly remarkable, especially given the stifling social mobility of women at the time. Tales of this pirate queen live on today. Forge your own career on the high seas through our sponsor by using the link in the description to play their game now. A huge thanks is owed to our supporters on Patreon, and the many talented researchers, writers, and artists who made this video possible. Please consider contributing to fund future content. If you found this topic interesting, check out these related videos about our fascinating past. Be sure to like and subscribe for more history, and check out our description for ways to support the channel. Thanks for watching.